All right, so welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
And this is, of course, Conversations with the Crawleys, where we have conversations about faith, family, relationships, a whole bunch of stuff on this one, right?
Right.
And we're talking about one of our favorite shows that we're just now starting to watch, Love and Marriage DC. So if this is content that you enjoy, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe, hit the like, request notifications,
And share.
and we will see you in the comments. All right. So y'all know we were out for a couple weeks because we were on vacation. Not honeymooning, but just celebrating the anniversary and doing some other stuff in ATL. So this is kind of a recap of episode 2 and 3.
Right.
So Monique and Ashley are having a conversation. Monique's, their thing, as we kind of talked about, is communication with her and Chris. They're at 10 years now, and so the question is, where are we doing? How is this going to work? So they're both kind of expressing how they both need more support from their spouses.
Right.
Monique is really saying she needs more support from Chris.
Right. And the same thing, right, with Ashley, because he works a lot, as we were finding out in the episodes, and asking for that support. And it's like, we have to do everything and get everything together. And then when we're not there, we need to find someone. That stuff needs to stop.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. You know what? I'm giving this to you. However you decide to handle it, husband, you handle it. Whatever works best for you, handle it. But a lot of times as women, when we become wives, we want to have control over everything and how we get things done, even when we're not there, but not allowing our spouse to do it in the way they need to do it to make sure it gets done.
Right.
As long as it gets done, the kids, if the clothes on backwards, I didn't get a chance to see it. If they had cereal,
I never put the clothes on the kids backwards. She's just speaking general. I never did that.
I'm just saying, because you
My
have
kids
all
knew how to. We got them dressed. They were good when I walked out with me.
But wives feel like, oh my God, he's going to do something crazy, and the kids are going to be out in the street with 2 different tennis shoes on. But sometimes you just need to let it go. If he says he's going to support you and he's going to do it, allow your spouse to do it.
Yeah.
And they're having conversations that, you see when they're married 10 years or less or whatever, where they're still kind of trying to control everything. Everybody looks great. Everybody's doing what they need to do. But we're going to be finding, just to say, she's going to possibly, be doing something as a morning host on a radio show. Right. And so with her getting up early in the morning, she's going to need his support. So I think a lot of times we just got to let go and just let it happen.
Right.
Let God. They'll be fine.
Right. So Quick is a DJ, right? And so the CIA, which I know it's basically Athletic Association, if I remember correctly, for HBCUs.
Yeah.
So they're having, I guess, their weekend, their tournament weekend maybe, up in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And so Quick has been asked, basically, they're trying to get him to do, I think it was 15 spots, 15 shows?
No, what it was, they're having a weekend show, and that's going to be extra along with he was already scheduled.
Gotcha.
So that would have gave him a total of 15 shows for the whole
basically in 3.5 days.
And I'm like, how do you do 15 DJ shows? Like, is there a brunch show? Like, is any of these shows during the day? Like,
you better set up your Instagram and live stream to a couple of them jokers.
Because I was like, oh my God. Now, I don't know how much you get paid for DJing per show, but good Lord.
Yeah.
And like he was talking to his manager, which was also a father figure for him when his dad died. And he was like, I don't know how you're going to fit that in. I was like, well, get rid of some other shows, because he feels like there's a kinship with the CIA that he's been doing for lots of years in the North Carolina area. And he really wants to participate in this event because that's something he's been doing for a while. Then some of the shows you've never done before, just say, I'll do a new one, and my old one, they have to understand they have to get somebody else. Get DJ Envy. Get another DJ.
DJ Envy, listen.
Get somebody.
Yes, we watch The Breakfast Club every now and then.
So get somebody else. Why do you got to be the only DJ with 15 events?
Or even better, here's the idea. Train up some other DJs.
We got DJ school. Get
Right.
your best DJ.
Get your best DJs, and then take a cut of all their fees.
Nice. I like that. Look at that. Give us some free
Listen.
advice there.
Then you can do CIA,
It's
NCAA, NIT. You can do all the
It's
tournaments.
true.
Just have your production company, your DJ company set up where you listen.
Your school, all your top D about to graduate, who you know, people like, okay, you have good grades, whatever, how you determine that, and then get that's what working smarter and not harder.
Right. Because if you're going to work yourself to exhaustion, you're not going to be able to enjoy the money that you're making.
Or your family. And that's
Right.
what the wife, that's what Ashley's looking for.
Yeah. All right. So Chris meets up with Winter's husband. And Winter is the young lady who is a friend of Monique's, who has the shaven head on one side
Yes.
that looks like she flips her hair over when she wants to rock it complete. But Kevin is basically like 20 years older than her. And they've been married for a little less than a year.
Yeah, it was a little less than a year. But from our understanding, Chris and Monique, they've known him prior to Winter getting married to him. And so, he wants to know his side of the story, which I think is fair,
Very
right? You hear Winter's side like real often, and you don't hear anything from Chris.
Right. In fact, that's how we met Winter, was her telling this story about how all this went down.
All her like her first marriage and everything. So, he's like, so man, what's going on with you? What happened? Blah, blah, blah. And so it seemed like it took forever for Kevin to tell the story. Like Chris was getting a little lost in all he was saying.
I'm still a little lost.
But at the end of the day, Kevin makes it out to what we understand is Kevin's perspective of him and Winter's relationship is that they lied. His other partners lied on him. And then they're trying to blame that he was taking money from the business. Mm-hmm. And then he was trying to resolve it without telling Winter so she wouldn't worry and be concerned, which turns out to be they all pulled out and they're suing him.
Yep.
And Winter like, I didn't know who you were and that's a problem and I want a divorce.
Yeah.
And Kevin's like, I love her. I love the babies. Not my babies, but I love them. I want them back. And Chris is like, oh, man, you're going to make me cry. Like, is that going to happen to me? He's having all these thoughts as they were meeting.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's some other interactions that happen in the episode about basically Quick and Jamie realizing that they're going to have some competing events. Mm-hmm. And then just figuring out, because Jamie's been in the nightlife for a while too, just how have that conversation. Mm-hmm. And then Monique and Chris are talking about the radio spot. You talked the potential radio spot. Right. And you talked about how he's going to have to step up with the kids. Right. And then basically there's Monique and Chris are inviting everybody over for a dinner, a vegan dinner. Mm-hmm. Quick and Ashley are like, that's good.
That's my type right there.
But we're going to go ahead and get some food before.
Just in case I can't eat what you're going to serve or I don't like something, I've already ate.
Yeah.
So they get a chance to hang out. Because another thing was like, well, we really haven't got a chance to even talk and catch up as a couple ourselves. Right. So we'll go get something to eat, go hang out before we pretend like we're going to eat their food. Which that'd be something to do if I knew I'm not going to be able to eat something. Yeah. I don't want to be, unpolite. I'm going to take one of the little items, but I'm going to go eat so I ain't going to starve at your place. Right. But they get to talk again. And this is where Quick is saying, babe, I know you're going to be mad, but I'm about to work my life away in a whole weekend. Mm-hmm. And she's trying to explain to him like, look, we could do something else. Or what if I need to do something? I can bring in some money too, where you don't have to feel like you're working so much. And why are we in the same cycle of you working so overworking more so than anything? That I love you. I want to be here. We're good friends. Like we're a partnership. Right. And I don't want to see you work so hard.
Yeah. So everybody shows up to the dinner. And Arana is like, I don't eat vegan food. Right.
She's like, what are you doing?
So, and here's the thing, because I got the feeling that they had let everybody know that it was going to be vegan, but Arana is acting like she didn't get the memo.
I think she's just messing around. Like, She's like, girl, you know I don't do this. I don't do this vegan food.
Because I mean, and there is, because like when we've gone out or we've gone over to people's houses and things of that nature, most of them know that you eat a pescatarian lifestyle, right? And so they do make sure that they try and have something prepared that you
Right.
can eat, right?
Right.
Because we can't go over for chicken, or chicken and steak, and you just sit there and eat mashed potatoes.
Again, I think in that moment, she might have been playing around, but it looked like they had maybe some sushi or something,
Hmm.
But it's good to try something, but also you don't want to put something on somebody.
Right.
So you should have at least one alternative
Right.
to something that someone does eat,
Yeah.
you know.
So then they're kind of all the couples are sitting around at the table. All the couples and Winter are sitting
Mm-hmm.
at the table, and they're kind of talking about COVID stories,
Mm-hmm.
because, and then Monique goes into a story about how she had COVID, and she starts off with basically saying that Chris left her upstairs, didn't bring her anything, what have you. And Chris is like, "No, let's tell the whole truth." And she keeps cutting him off, and he's like, "No." And so they're getting into this little argument, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he tells, "Okay, you know what? I've done before. I've come up and interrupted your sleep, and you got mad at me. I didn't do it, but once you told me what you needed, I came and brought you everything you needed."
Because I told you, okay, let's do this.
Hmm.
Text me when you need something.
Right.
Because obviously when you have COVID, like we were out of it when we had it. So we were when you both sick at the same time.
Listen, you get your own water. I'm gonna get my own water. We gonna figure this out ourselves.
Like nobody was moving. It was nobody. So I get it, but when I've been sick before, I normally sleep. I just get so tired and fatigued. You don't bother me, and then I just let you know what I need because most of the time I am asleep, and you don't want to open the door because like I don't want to catch nothing.
Facts. Facts.
It's like put your hand out so you can reach it.
Okay.
So I get it, but she was just like, they left me with no water and no bread, and no one came to check on me. He was like, what? What? Where was that in your head?
So
Were you illusional during that time?
right, because
Like, don't play like I didn't love you.
and then she tried to come back and say, "Well, no, I didn't say that you didn't do anything." And he's like, "No, roll back the tape." And producer's like, "Okay." And exactly what she said is what she said. She did say that he left her there alone and everything.
Stranded.
And then he does tell her hush, which he was
He was aggravated.
he was aggravated because he kept getting cut off. Right. And I know when we've had conversations
I know.
and I get cut off, I'm like, listen, I don't like being cut off.
I know.
When we're having a conversation that we're trying to express ourselves.
Right, we're trying to express ourselves.
So
It's like he's like, I feel your frustration, Chris.
I was like, Chris, listen, I see you on that one, bro.
Oh my God.
So then Monique again starts calling, starts asking for the free counseling, if you will, from
Right.
Jamie and Iran. It's like, let it go.
Right, because they're like, it's called ups and downs. It's like, he's like, I think he was just pretty much saying, like, we don't have a secret, it's no secret sauce, right?
We're just trying to make sure our marriage survives, just like you're trying to make sure your marriage survives. So I don't have anything extra to tell you other than do what you need to do to help your marriage survive.
Right. Because she's like, my wife stuck in there. When those first 10 years, when I was tripping, she just stuck in there. She stayed.
And Arana talks about how, and then, because Jamie does feel like she may have overshared a little, because she does talk about how she suspected him of having infidelity,
Right.
but can never prove it.
Right. And that's the thing. Because if you waste all your time looking through people's stuff, worrying and anxious and over asking all these questions, and you just driving yourself crazy.
Yep.
Because like she said, well, people will come and talk to me. People are sharing, well, don't you know, blah, 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 blah. But she's like, I never found him doing anything. I never found anything. So it was just an accusation.
And notice he didn't cop to, yeah, you never caught me.
Right.
He didn't cop to, he was just like,
I'm just going to sit here.
I'm going to sit right here. I'm going to eat my meatless
pretend
meatball.
Pretend like I'm just listening. But again, so she makes it very obvious. She's like, look, yeah, he was a nightlife promoter, so he had to be gone night. Yes, there was women who didn't care if he was married or not.
Mm-hmm.
I never caught him in it, so I couldn't leave if I couldn't, I didn't catch him
Right.
actually doing something. It's like you just basically what she ended up saying was like I had to at the end trust him,
Right.
and that's what I did to stay in my marriage.
Yeah. So then Ashley starts talking to Winter.
Right, because she's like, okay,
She's like, help me
Ashley.
understand this.
Now, I understand the first marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I totally get that. So sorry that happened to you. But let's talk about how you the one that got tricked for a 60-year-old man that lived in his mama basement. I don't know how that goes. And you're what? A relationship what? How does that work?
Because basically Winter's telling this story about how, because she took a little issue with Chris having the conversation with Kevin, because she's like, it's not the love that broke us apart, it's the fact that he lied, and that he was, he didn't have a place to live, he doesn't have a car, he's staying in his mama's basement, right? And Ash was like, how you not know he's staying in his mama's basement? Didn't you? Well, we were dating during COVID. Okay, but you got married during COVID. How you not know that? Well, his family close out, and you're a relationship expert, and she's like, how? And then Quick was like, she's like that nail technician, that nail specialist whose nails are never done. Here's the, because you probably heard, if you want to go to who the best barber in a barbershop is, go to the one with the worst haircut. Right? The best barber has the worst haircut. So he's like, so how does this work? Is it like you're the relationship specialist who specializes in making relationships better, but you don't have one yourself? And so then Winter's like, well, is success really defined by, doing things well?
And Ashley was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's why it's called success. It's not successful if you're not having success.
She's like, Winter's like, well, who can? I mean, I can talk to everybody. I can talk to the ones that are the single
right.
mothers. Yes, you can talk to all of them.
She's right. She can encourage them. She's right. Because there's a difference in being a coach and then being out on the field. So you can give advice. Now, she may give advice, but don't take her own advice. So
Or
I get
the advice didn't work for her.
right.
So why would I? So I understand from Ashley and Quick. I'm not going to trust the advice of somebody who keeps failing, whether it's her fault or someone else's fault. You haven't proven to me, in my opinion, you haven't proven or given me a track record to say that you know how to make something successful.
I got a very
Break it
good.
down for me. Go
I
ahead.
got a very good example.
Go ahead.
There was a singer called Babyface. He could sing a love song. He had every love song you could think of. Baby making love song. I love you the rest of my life love song. That man got a divorce. He could sing about love. He just couldn't put it in his own relationship. So I'm saying.
All right, I'm gonna let that one go. Go ahead.
I'm just saying. If you sing about something, you feel like you'd be an expert in something you're gonna sing about. And everyone has their flaws. Like you said, if it was her part, not listening to her own advice.
Or going to see his apartment.
Going to see his part. Because as we find out, she talks to her mother, who feels guilty because she's the one that also was saying, give him a try. So give him a try, meaning she had some red flags. She refused to stay with her own advice. And she took advice of family also into consideration. Now, would that consideration be into marriage? That's on her. Can't put that on her mom because she said just consider him because he was older. But at the end of the day, I get what Ashley is saying. But at the same time, when you're at a place where you might have been looking for love in all the wrong places, and you trying to do things in COVID, you make some wrong choices in life. That was her wrong choice. Now, the way Ashley came at her was pretty strong, in my opinion. And some of the other ladies had the same opinion, like she was coming for a throat.
It was fine for me. I was like, I understand because I feel the same kind of way.
I'm
because there's never.
If you have resumes, I get it. She's not gonna be the first one I pick. If I see your resume saying, "Hey, I'm looking for
Because
a
I remember
relationship,"
one time we were one of the churches we served at. We at this time we've been married for like 12, 13 years. And this young man, great guy, he and his wife, they had just gotten married in like a year or two. And they were going to have a marriage conference. And we were like, how am I going to learn about marriage? You just got married. Why would I go? So to me, it's that same type of idea is that I'm not gonna take advice from someone who has not shown the track record for some level of success. Just me. All right. So then they start talking about some other things as far as celebrity crushes and what have you. That was pretty much the end of that dinner date. Basically, Arana and Jamie, they go running for a little bit, and he kind of again brings up the fact that he felt that the questions was a setup, and in many respects, he felt that she kind of overshared. He was like, he was like, "Didn't I tell you? Haven't I told warned you? I told you in the past. Hey, I don't remember nothing. I forgot. I'm not sure how to evade questions." So he kind of felt that she overshared. So.
Well, and then we find out that Arana, am I saying her name right? That she's a runner, and she's done marathons and run different things, and she's concerned about her sons.
Yes.
And so she's asking them, like, "Are you talking to them? Are you having a relationship? Or is it getting better?" Because she indicates that her father was in jail most of her life growing up, and she wants to see that her husband is having a good relationship with their sons and stuff. So yeah, as a wife, as a mother, you always concerned. Are y'all having conversation? Do y'all talk? And he's like, we're talking. Like we talk the way we talk. Like it's you hear, "Hey man, you doing all right?" "Yeah, I'm doing all right," and we walk away. But there's times you're not there, and we're getting to know each other, and we're sharing, and we're in a really good place. And he explains that they're supposed to meet up and do some boxing where it's not just him just talking to him or talking at him.
There's the interactions, yeah.
Yeah, they're having a relationship.
Monique and Chris are going to Africa.
Because they homeschool their 3 kids.
So they're taking the kids to Africa for a trip. And then she brings up, again, the conversations from the dinner party. And she takes issues with the fact that he told her to hush. And he's like, basically like, I didn't tell you to shut up. So he's like, I was trying to put it in a nice way because you kept cutting me off. And so he makes a statement that it is a telling statement to me. He makes a statement that he sometimes feels like he's walking on eggshells. And that's never a good place to be in a relationship. That you feel like you can't say what you need to say or how, you can apologize for how you deliver it.
Right.
But being able to say what he needs to say, because then in my opinion also she makes the statement of don't talk Alabama to me and I'm New Jersey, da da da. Are both of those I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave that alone.
I understand that she don't want to feel like she's being told to be quiet, but at the same time
Context.
Right, and making say, well, I apologize how it came across, but as I had to bring it across the way you were saying it, it made me look bad. It made me look like I didn't care about you during COVID.
Right.
When that wasn't the case. You weren't putting it, you weren't recalling how that occurred. So people looking at me sideways, and you didn't even recognize that people looking at me sideways, like, why weren't you taking care of your wife? Why wasn't she taken care of? Trying to play a victim in that sense when you weren't the victim. I made sure you were taken care of. And I had to address that. And I think, again, it's them hearing each other out and really understanding where they're coming from, so they can get to a better place. So they feel like maybe Africa can help them. They do need to spark the romance because she's like, I feel like we got a good friendship, but we don't have that romance that we need.
Yeah. Ashley and Arana go to the doctor because Ashley needs to get Botox for her underarm to stop sweating.
Right.
But they're Ashley and Arana, they do talk about how the dinner date went or the dinner dinner event went. And again, that's where Arana starts to bring up to Ashley like, "Hey, do you think you went a little hard at her? Do you think that maybe you were a little rough on her?" And Ashley's like, "Well, she kind of came for me, so I went for her."
And then Ron was like, how? How did she attack you? You started, like, you started
Yeah.
it. So it's just like, and she's like, huh? What? Did I do something? Oh my gosh, did I
Yeah,
really?
because admittedly, I would say that I didn't take what Winter said about Ashley in the DM whole thing, that whole
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
I didn't take that as her really coming for her.
No, it wasn't. I don't really think
It
it was a
wasn't a dig,
dig
no.
because what Ashley was saying at the dinner party was like, nowadays it's so much easier to reach out to people
Right.
through Instagram and their DMs and and try to
They
holler at
they
them or
just weren't
whatever.
hearing what the other one was saying,
Right, they
in my
weren't.
opinion.
And so she's like, "Oh, so you have to go through your husband to be able to meet these people?" And she was like, "No, baby,
She's like, I can
no."
slide into any DM I want to right now.
Right. so and that's when we're at that place where Ashley like, I ain't feeling this winter chick.
Yeah.
I don't think she even real. I think she phony.
Yeah.
So it's just like, well, we all need to get together because we're on the show together. So we are all supposed to become
And we got to
friends.
create some drama for the show.
Right. So let's make it work.
Jamie does go to the 9 rounds boxing with Lil Jamie and with Quick. And so Quick kind of pulls Lil Jamie aside and is talking about, hey, I've been through where I've gotten shot, I've gotten stabbed, got beat, whatever. And he's trying to just, again, give that community of manhood.
Right.
To say, hey, you're making some decisions that your dad's concerned about, but just as a man, I want to let you know, listen, that's not necessarily the way to go. It might look great, but that's not it.
And I thought, again, that was a really cool segment of seeing how a dad was like, look, I've been talking to him, but I know you were, talking to Quick, like, I know you were a part of that life. You work currently in the community. You work with youth and giving back. And so if you can say anything to my son just to kind of help him, to realize that it's just not me saying it.
Right.
That other men are saying too, like, you don't want to be a part of that life. Like, bro, you didn't come from the hood. You have 2 parents. You live in a nice neighborhood. Why try to be a thug when you don't have to be a thug? So.
Well, oh, good. Oh, from 8 Mile, Clarence. And Clarence is real. He has 2 parents. The kid from
Oh yeah,
the
yeah,
rap
yeah,
battle, yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly. I was like, where's
listen,
this
y'all
coming
know
from?
the random stuff that runs through my mind sometimes.
Right. So I'm like, that's what he was trying to get across to him. He's like, yeah, because it sounds like little Jamie really looks up to Quick like a celebrity because of all the people that he had opportunity to be around. So he was just like really feeling like, okay, I could be on the right track. And you see Jamie reaffirming little Jamie like, I'm proud of you, what you've been doing so far, which is a son always need affirmation from their father. I'm so proud of you. You're doing well. Let's keep this up. And just reassuring him. So I'm excited to see that present itself on TV.
Yeah. All right. And then the ladies all meet, well, minus Monique, because Monique's in Africa, Kenya in particular. And there's this conversation, which I'm like, I do agree with Ashley on this. She's like, friend is a strong and it's a loaded word.
Yeah, because
we're
when
acquaintances.
it says, hey, I brought you all together because hopefully I want to become or establish a friendship.
And Ashley's like, we're just getting to know each other. You an acquaintance.
Don't
And
even
then
bring that word
she
up.
says Arana is an acquaintance as well.
Yep. And Ronna was like, oh, I thought it was a little higher on the total pole.
So
But she admits that they haven't known each other for very long. Right. So she's like, okay, at least Ashley's being fair around the board.
Right. So, because to me that speaks also to the casting of the show, that you have individuals that are not necessarily friends,
right,
but are acquaintances that they're like, we're gonna just film around them because
they met, their
life meshes, right, and intersect. So, so that was pretty much the whole conversation. They're trying to figure out whether they're gonna be friends or acquaintances or they're going to have, because they got a whole season to film through, so they got to talk to each other at least some point.
Right.
So But that's it for this one. Let us know what you thought. Let us know what we missed. And we will see you next time. Have a great one. Be blessed.
Bye.